Hi, welcome back to another episode of Making Action Happen. Of course, I'm Sarah Blackhurst.
And I'm Brian McCain.
So we just got finished with Voices of Rural Colorado. And this year was a completely different, well, I'm just going to say it. It was a bit of a game changer for everybody that attended and for us in how we do things. And of course, we take things for granted before the pandemic that we really don't take for granted anymore. So we were really happy for everybody to come back together and to do the thing that we do, and that's make a strong voice for our rural communities. We had a number of panelists, we had a number of presenters, and these are all heavy hitters. We had water, we had ag. I did an ag one with Kate Greenberg and Terry Frankhauser and Nick Colgazer and Austin Vincent, all leaders in the ag community. We had a great, very interesting water panel. It was pretty intense on that. And of course, we talked about mental health. We had just all of the different things that really face rural Colorado. So what we wanted to do this year that we haven't done in years past is really share those panelists, the sponsors, those people who support the rural communities across the state all the time. And so our episode, the next two episodes, highlight really who those people are. And so we wanted to share that with you.
And I didn't go because I had COVID for the second time. So as the couple days before, of course, my wife tests positive, then I test positive, then we go get the big test, and the kids test positive. So we were kind of knocked out the whole time. So I unfortunately did not get to go this year, and which is a shame. But with that, we did decide to bring some of the people that helped put this on our show. So up there, it was Mike interviewing them, and then I interviewed one person because she also had COVID, so she was stuck at home as well. So we kind of circled back and did that. But we're going to hear a little bit about some of the people that basically supported us, and that's Action 22, Pro 15, and Club 20, that really help us do this sort of thing to reach our audience and our membership. And we're going to hear a little bit from them.
And before we get to all of these great sponsors and everybody who supported us, I have to give a big shout out to our colleagues from Club 20 with Christian Reese and Pro 15, Kathy Scholl. They work tremendously hard. For the last several years, Christian really has taken this on, and it's been her project, and Kathy and I have just been there to support her. And it's every year. It's a huge success, and we bring so many people together, and it's really impactful. And I think this year was maybe the most impactful, the loudest voice, the strongest results that we've ever seen. And so I really want to say thank you to Kathy Scholl for all of her hard work, and especially to Christian Reese and her staff with Club 20 for the tremendous work and everything that they do to take care of their communities.
And before we get to our sponsors and the word from them, so there was a little bit of controversy at the meeting this year. Again, I wasn't there, so what happened?
So there was, I have to tell you, I was at dinner with our new vice chair, Tony Haas, Commissioner Tony Haas, who is a county commissioner for Las Animas County, but he's also a beef producer, and he's just one of those rare, still real deal cowboys. And, he's a bull rider and everything. So we're sitting at dinner with him and Micah and a few other, Richard Holtorf and a few other of our colleagues, and he gets this text. And it was shocking. And it was a text by, and I'm not going to name any names because it's been resolved, but it was by somebody who was on a decision-making commission, and a decision-making commission for the ag community. And this person had been appointed a couple of years ago, and from the very moment of their appointment, the negative feelings toward our ag community were apparent, but it really hit a boiling point, of course, while we were up there for Voices. And so the governor came on. And let me just tell you, the governor has always very supportive of Voices of Rural Colorado, of the organizations. Action 22 has been really generous. Phil Weiser was there. Like it was a stellar lineup. But that email or the post was starting to get emailed around, texted around right before the governor came on at 11 o'clock on Friday.
Yes, and to be fair to Governor Polis has come to almost all of our events, and he gets in front of people and he takes questions, even when we said like, well, just speak for 5 minutes. You don't have to. Because a lot of times when he comes in front of our memberships, it's not necessarily the nicest crowd towards him. But, credit where credit's due. He stands up there and he talks to everyone and he hears their concerns. Thus, going into this, I guess he gets up to speak.
He gets up to speak, and it's on Zoom. And the question comes up, and it was acknowledged, all the great things he actually has done for ag, especially in the last year. And then we all had a laugh together about even the Meet Out turned out to be a really great event. And so we were all laughing about it. And he's got a great sense of humor about it. And then the question came up. Now, I know that he did not know what post that they were referring to, because he had no idea. And he said, he doesn't want to censure or to, he puts a lot of different people on these commissions, and that's true. Mm-hmm. There's over 3,000 people on different decision-making commissions in Colorado, and he works really hard to make sure. It hasn't always happened in the past, but under his administration, he has put a lot of, and there's Action 22 members and even board members who are on different commissions. But this crowd, our group, this was not okay. This text or this post absolutely was not okay. And so I sent the message up. I sent the post so that he would actually know what was being talked about. But it was, it was too late. And so he left that, and there was a bit of a hullabaloo with that. There was an article that was written. There was some press there.
Yeah, I believe it was actually an article written specifically about Voices of Rural Colorado, and that kind of put it out there. And then it, like everything on social media, it kind of spread like wildfire. And I was a couple days later, this person who was on this commission or board ended up resigning over it.
They resigned. So that was at 11 o'clock on Friday when the governor spoke. By 2:30 on Monday, this person had resigned. Now, this is a person who is a friend, honestly, of the governor and the first gentleman. And so this was not an easy thing. They resigned with an apology to the governor for putting him in that position. But I think that we have to absolutely give credit where credit is due, that regardless of second or third or fourth hand, when it comes to it, the governor really does want to do what's best for rural Colorado. And this was a great example of this got brought to him, and then that person resigned. And so we wanted to say thanks. And that was the kind of powerful impact that this that Voices had, but it was also a really great way for everybody to see how engaged our executive branch really is with our rural communities.
Yeah, two lessons here. Voices is important because it does bring some of us down here in the rural area together with the policymakers, legislators, and the Denver crowd, where everything's centered when it comes to legislation. Second lesson is that if you're in a public position, be careful what you put on social media, because everybody can see it.
Oh my gosh. And
I don't get it. It just keeps happening. If you're in the public eye, people are going to be watching this, because no matter what side of the aisle you're on or how right you think you are, there's somebody that disagrees with you, and they're just looking for this opportunity to grab something. And that's what happened. And, I wasn't familiar with this individual policy-wise, anything like that, but we saw what happened when social media post, meeting, resigned.
It was resigned. And that was somebody that had been really causing problems for a couple of years. But also, I can't imagine, this would be like me putting up a social media post that was just spewing a lot of anger and distaste. And if I put that on your post and it was somebody then that forces you to take a position. I mean, that's just a mean thing to do. It was just
Yeah.
all around. I didn't think it was at all fair to the governor or to the first gentleman.
Yeah.
At all. So with that, but there was all around, it was really great. And when you listen to these interviews that we did with our sponsors, you'll understand why this was so amazing and productive. And really the people, the stakeholders, the people who are engaged throughout the state are outstanding and really do care about our state.
So with that, we're going to go to the interviews and hear a little bit from our sponsors. And remember, email us at show@action22.org. You can find us on YouTube as well, Making Action Happen. We ask that you click on that, subscribe, like, do all the stuff that the kids say when they're making their videos. And also you can find us on any major podcast platform, first included Voice America Network. Just go there, Making Action Happen. You can download it there, or Spotify or Apple, wherever you want to go.
And if you're not already a member of Action 22, you're going to see why it's such a huge benefit to you to become a member now, because you get to participate in things like Voices of Rural Colorado.
All right. We'll see you next week.